when it comes to that first intimate moment with a man, everything feels heightened. The lights might be low, the chemistry might be electric there, but beneath that skin on skin connection, something deeper is unfolding. He's not just feeling your body, he's reading your energy, your confidence, your presence. Realize that there, and whether he realizes it or not, he's making judgments. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about performing or putting on a show. Realize that this isn't about being perfect or trying to impress him with moves you learned on some Instagram reel. This is about understanding the unspoken language that's exchanged between two people when they finally cross that line. When the flirtation turns physical and the masks start to fall, realize that there. Because here's the truth: most dating coaches won't tell you men notice way more than they let on in that first intimate moment. And I don't mean just physical things. They're registering emotional cues, micro behaviors that you respond to pleasure, the way you own your desires or don't. A man might never say these things out loud. Hell, he not even consciously realize he's doing it, but on a subconscious level, he's gathering that data, and it influences how he sees you moving forward. Is this just casual? Realize that there, or could this be something deeper? Is she in her body or in her head? Is she craving connection or validation? So today, I want to share with you 5 powerful ways a man judges you during your first intimate moment, not to scare you, but to empower you. Because when you understand what he's picking up on there, you stop trying to be what he wants and start being irresistibly yourself. Let's dive in. When a man is with you in that first intimate moment, they're one of the very first things he picks up on, without you saying a word, is how comfortable you are with your own body. This isn't about having a supermodel physique or flawless skin. It's not about being a certain size or looking like someone on his social media feed. What he's truly noticing is your relationship with yourself. The way you carry yourself, the way you undress, the way you allow yourself to be seen. These are all powerful, unspoken messages. And they either tell him you accept and celebrate your body ick, or you hide from it. Realize think about it. When a woman is constantly adjusting the blankets to cover her stomach, turning off the lights to disappear, or apologizing for parts of herself, it doesn't just kill the mood, it sends a message. And that message is, I don't feel good enough. And while a good man isn't judging your appearance harshly, realize that he is registering that discomfort. It changes the energy. Intimacy is meant to be about connection, not self-consciousness. And when he senses that you're not present because you're busy battling your insecurities, it distances him emotionally, even if you're physically close. But on the flip side, when a woman walks into that moment with ease, not perfection, but it's magnetic. A woman who owns her space, who undresses slowly and unapologetically, who doesn't rush to hide or explain or shrink, instantly stands out. She doesn't need to prove anything. She knows that confidence isn't loud. It's silent, it's calm, it's in her eyes, in her posture, in the way she moves. Confidence, and that kind of confidence, that's a man lean in. That's what makes her unforgettable. Here's the twist: most women don't realize their men are not looking for flawlessness. In fact, most men barely notice the things you obsess over, the little imperfections you think are glaring, that they barely register unless you point them out by acting ashamed of them. What he does notice is how you feel, and he responds to that energy. If you radiate comfort in your own skin, if you make it okay for him to be himself by being at ease with yourself, he relaxes, he opens up, he stops thinking and starts feeling. Now, let's get really honest. Comfort with your body doesn't come from being desired. It comes from already knowing you're desirable, even before anyone else confirms it. It's about having a quiet conversation with yourself that says, I'm allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to enjoy this. I'm worthy of pleasure, love, and attention. Not because I look perfect, but because I'm human, I'm real, and I'm here. That's where true confidence lives. Not in comparison, not in external validation, but in ownership. And when you touch yourself like you know you're beautiful, when you move like your body is something to be celebrated, they're not hitting when you laugh in the middle of intimacy instead of holding your breath trying to be sexy enough. That's when a man sees the real you. that's when he stops thinking about your body and starts falling for your presence. So if you're going into that first intimate moment, don't let your body become a battlefield. Let it be a playground, a temple, a channel for connection. Show him, not through words, but through your energy, that you are not here to be judged. You are here to feel, to explore, there to share something real. And that confidence, that comfort, that embodied self-love, that's what stays with him long after the moment ends. Because any woman can be sexy there, but the woman who is comfortable in her own body, she's rare, and he knows it. When a man is with you for the first time intimately, there's one thing he feels more than anything else, whether you're actually there with him, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. Are you in the moment there? Or are you acting your way through it? He might not be able to describe it out loud, but he can feel it. There's a world of difference between being physically naked and emotionally present. A lot of women don't realize they're slipping into a kind of performative mode during intimacy. They've internalized so many scripts from porn, from movies, from social media, that they believe there's a right way to be sexy. The moans have to sound a certain way. The facial expressions have to be sultry. The timing, the rhythm, realize that the eye contact, all of it is choreographed. But the problem with performance is that it's not you. And men, especially emotionally aware men, realize that their consents when they're not connecting with the real you. A man might enjoy the performance in the moment, but when he leaves, it doesn't leave a mark. Realize that there, because what he's craving isn't just the physical, it's the feeling. He wants to feel like you're with him, not just performing for him. Like you're not trying to impress him. Realize that there, but actually enjoying him, that presence. When you let go of the idea of looking perfect, when you stop trying to get it right and instead start feeling what's real between you, that's what makes the moment unforgettable. Presence doesn't mean being intense all the time. They realize that it's not about having deep eye contact for hours. It's about not being distracted, not thinking about how you look from that angle, not worrying about whether you're pleasing him enough. They're not overanalyzing your own movements. It's about being in your body, feeling every kiss, every breath, every spark, and letting yourself react naturally. They're letting the moment move through you without filtering it. And here's the iron of performing. When you stop being present, you become so much sexier. Because suddenly realize that you're not reciting lines, you're feeling, your touch changes, your energy deepens, the room feels different. And to a man, that's addictive. Realize that because so few people allow themselves to be that real anymore. We live in a world of filters and it's curated highlights. But in the bedroom, that's the one place where realness is irreplaceable. So what does presence look like? It's laughing when something awkward happens instead of freezing. It's slowing down to feel instead of rushing through steps. It's letting your body speak louder than your thoughts. It's giving yourself permission to enjoy without performing joy. Realize that some women ask, but if I don't perform, what if I'm not enough? And I get that fear. But let me ask you this, realize that would you rather he be attracted to a version of you that's not real, or be moved by the real you, even if it's a little messy, a little imperfect, a little vulnerable? Realize that because trust me, the real you is where the magic is. That's where the intimacy happens. That's where he feels something he can't find with anyone else there. And if a man can't appreciate that kind of connection, he's not the one for you. So the next time you find yourself slipping into performance, pause, breathe. Come back to your body there, look him in the eyes, let your touch be a conversation, not a script, because presence doesn't require perfection. It just requires you fully, freely, unapologetically realize that and once a man has tasted that level of realness with you, no performance can ever compare. In that first intimate moment, realize that there's something incredibly telling about the way a woman receives pleasure. It's not just about how she moves or sounds. It's about whether she lets herself feel it whether she allows pleasure course through her without apology, or whether she holds back like she's afraid of taking up too much space. And yes, a man watches that. Maybe not with his eyes but with his intuition. He's feeling your reactions, your energy, your openness. And based on what he senses, he's drawing quiet conclusions, not just about how good the moment is when they realize that they're, but about how emotionally open and connected you might be beyond the bedroom. Now, receiving pleasure might seem like the most natural thing in the world, but for so many women, it's not. It feels vulnerable, exposing, even dangerous. They're in a world that's told women they're either too much or not enough when it comes to their desire. So what happens? Many women learn to give rather than receive, realize that they become skilled at pleasing him, at taking care of his experience, while quietly shrinking inside their own. But here's what most women don't realizing: the most powerful, unforgettable moments of intimacy for man come not when you're trying to impress him with how much you do, but when you let him witness how much you feel. Because when you truly let go, realize that when you allow yourself to surrender to the moment, to let your breath deepen, your body respond, your voice escape you without filters, it stirs something primal in him. It tells him, I trust you. I'm letting you in. And that trust, that vulnerability, that's more intoxicating than anything you could do to him. It makes him feel powerful, but not in an ego-driven way. They're powerful because he's giving you something meaningful. He's seeing a version of you that no one gets to see unless you choose it. And that choice, that gift of raw, realize that their honest pleasure, it changes the game. But when you hold back, when you tense up, when you resist making a sound, when your body goes still even though your mind is saying, this feels good, he notices that too. And while he may still be attracted, something in him pulls back, not because he's judging you for being guarded, because he can't quite feel your truth. And if he can't feel your truth, he can't go deeper. He can't connect beyond the surface. It becomes a moment of sensation, not a moment of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you unforgettable in a man's mind isn't just your physical connection. It's your emotional accessibility in that moment. There, it's how fully you show up, how fearlessly you allow yourself to feel, how you give yourself permission to be seen, heard, and deeply affected. That doesn't mean you have to be loud, dramatic, or theatrical. It just means being authentic. Maybe that's soft sighs and whispered words. Maybe it's intense eye contact and trembling limbs. There's no right way to receive pleasure. There's only your way. And when you honor that, you become magnetic. So the next time you're in that vulnerable space, ask yourself, am I letting this moment in? Am I letting him in there? Or am I protecting myself from being truly felt? Because the more you open yourself up to pleasure, not for his sake, but for your own, the more powerful, sensual, realize that they're an emotionally unforgettable you become, not just to him, but to yourself. And here's the secret most women miss: that a man doesn't fall in love with your performance of desire. He falls in love with your experience of it. When he sees you fully alive, fully in your body, fully open to receiving that's when he doesn't just want to touch you again. He wants to know all of you. In your first intimate moment with a man, realize that there's a subtle but powerful thing he's picking up on. And it's not about technique or experience. It's why you're giving. He's sensing the intention behind every touch, every kiss, every act of generosity. Are you giving from a place of joy, desire, and connection, or are you giving to get something in return? His validation, his affection, his commitment. This is one of those invisible dynamics that completely changes the emotional tone of intimacy, because men are incredibly attuned to when something feels like a transaction. Realize that you might be doing everything right physically, but if your energy is saying, I hope this makes him stay, or if I do this, maybe he'll see me as girlfriend material, it creates an undertone of pressure that makes him emotionally pull back. It stops feeling like a connection and starts feeling like a deal. Realize that they're in real intimacy. The kind that makes a man crave you long after the moment ends doesn't happen in deals. It happens in freedom. On the other hand, realize that when a woman gives from a place of genuine desire, when she kisses him because she wants to taste him, when she touches him because she loves how his body feels beneath her hands, realize that when she moves closer because she wants to be closer, not because she's trying to secure something, it shifts everything. It tells him, I'm here because I want to be. they're not because I need something from you. That kind of giving is magnetic because it's not rooted in lack, it's rooted in abundance. In ownership of your own pleasure, your own curiosity, they're your own sensuality. And let's be honest, when you're giving to get something, you're not actually present, you're in performance mode. You're tracking his reactions, monitoring his expressions, wondering, is this working? But when you're giving from desire, you're in flow, you're playful, you're spontaneous. They realize that you're not doing it to manipulate his perception. You're doing it because you're connected to your own turn on. And that energy, that freedom, that's what seduces a man's soul. A man wants to feel chosen, not manipulated. He wants to feel like you are enjoying this moment, not just doing what you think will make him like you more. And yes, he can feel the difference. He can tell when you're touching him with joy versus obligation. He can sense when you're kissing him with curiosity versus control. And when he feels that you're giving from a place of self-possession, when you're not trying to earn love or affection with your body, he doesn't just feel attraction, he feels respect for you. Because here's what's really happening in that moment. You're showing him your standards. You're saying, I don't use my body as currency. I share it when it feels right. And a man who is emotionally aware, that man takes notice. That man sees you as high value, not because you're withholding, but because you're intentional, because your giving isn't desperate, it's sacred. So if you ever catch yourself giving from a place of fear, fear that you're not enough, fear that he'll leave, fear that this is the only way to keep him, pause, breathe, come back to your body and ask yourself, do I really want to do this? Or am I trying to control the outcome? Because when your giving comes from power instead of need, from want instead of worry, you become unforgettable. A woman who gives from fullness, not fear, that's the woman a man remembers. Not because she gave the most, but because she gave from the most authentic place possible, herself. In that first intimate moment, there's a kind of vulnerability that happens for both people. But here's something most women don't realize men feel just as exposed as you do. Maybe not in the same way, maybe not through body image or fear of judgment, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that moment where he undresses in front of you, touches you, lets you in, it's more than skin on skin, it's ego stripped bare. And in that space, he's quietly asking himself one thing, do I feel safe with her? You see, society conditions men to be performers, to be strong, to lead, to initiate. And especially in the bedroom, there's this unspoken pressure to be impressive, to be confident, to be good at it. But what happens when he doesn't know what you like? What happens if things get awkward or imperfect? What if he's scared you're comparing him to someone else? In that moment, behind all the bravado, there's often a scared boy wondering, am I enough for her? And this is where your energy matters more than anything. Because even if you're both undressed and tangled up in passion, the emotional temperature of the room is being set by something much deeper than lust. It's being set by how you make him feel about himself. Not through praise or performance, but through presence, kindness, warmth. When a woman creates a space where he doesn't feel judged, when she responds with laughter instead of tension if something doesn't go perfectly, when she looks at him with softness instead of critique, that's the moment he lets go. That's when he stops performing and starts feeling. A lot of women think that making a man fall for them in bed means blowing his mind physically. But what actually makes a man obsessed, what actually makes him emotionally hooked, is feeling safe enough to not have to be perfect with you. It's the moment he realizes, I don't have to impress her, I just have to be with her. And that realization doesn't come from your body. It comes from your energy, from how you hold space for his vulnerability without shaming it, mocking it, or needing it to look a certain way. Maybe he's nervous. Maybe he hesitates. Maybe he goes silent for a moment. If you meet that with openness, with curiosity, with emotional warmth, it sends a message straight into his core. You don't have to earn my approval. You already have my attention. That's rare. That's healing. That's the kind of moment that makes a man not just want to sleep with you again, but want to wake up next to you. And what's most powerful is that this kind of emotional safety doesn't require you to coddle him or mother him. It just means being real, being human, allowing for awkwardness, staying emotionally connected through it all. Because let's be honest, no one has flawless sex the first time. There's learning, there's adjusting, there are funny moments. But what turns those into bonding experiences instead of turn-offs is how you handle them. Do you tense up or do you lean in with empathy and playfulness? When a man feels emotionally safe in bed with you, he relaxes in a way he rarely does with anyone else. And in that relaxation, he lets his guard down. He lets you see his softness, his need, his tenderness. And once that door opens, even just a little, it's almost impossible to close. Because most men are starved for that kind of space, a space where they don't have to be more than they are. They just get to be seen for who they are. So if you can give him that, if your energy says, you don't have to impress me, you just have to be here with me, that's not just intimacy. That's intimacy that transforms him. So let's pull back the curtain now. When a man shares that first intimate moment with you, he's not just enjoying your body, he's reading your soul. He's absorbing 1,000 silent cues that tell him what kind of connection this could become, whether this is fleeting or unforgettable, whether it's just passion or depth. And no, he won't come out and say it. He won't announce that he noticed your body language or the way you held eye contact or the exact moment you let yourself exhale and receive. But deep down, he's making emotional calculations. He's forming an impression of who you are through how you show up in that moment. Do you own your body or shrink from it? Do you connect or perform? Do you receive pleasure with openness or guardedness? Do you give with desire or with expectation? Do you make space for his vulnerability or only expect him to hold yours? These are the quiet questions that shape how a man sees you, not just as a lover, but as a potential partner, because intimacy is the one space where all masks fall off, where your deepest beliefs about yourself rise to the surface. And when a woman stands in that space with power, grace, and authenticity, that's the kind of energy that lingers. That's the kind of woman who doesn't just leave an impression on his body, but on his heart. So here's what I want you to remember. You don't need the perfect body. You don't need the most experience. You don't need to do anything right. You just need to show up fully, unapologetically, as you. Because when you're confident in your own skin, when you're present instead of performing, when you give and receive from a place of truth, and when you create a space where both of you can be emotionally naked, not just physically, that's when intimacy stops being an act. It becomes a memory, a bond, a pull that he can't shake. So the next time you're about to cross that line, don't ask, am I turning him on? Ask instead, am I showing up as the woman I want to be remembered as? Because when you do, you won't just be the woman he sleeps with, you'll be the woman he craves again and again and again.